This is a classic blues and R&B podcast. Welcome to the program. If I call you Mr. or whatever, Curtis, have nothing, no insult and anything of that kind. Mr. Salgado is a recording artist. He has about 11 CDs out, folks, and I tell you the title of some of them alone would kind of get you going there, But this last one he has is Damage Control, and I think it's a funny song, CD. Got a lot of good stuff on it, but, he's a storyteller, folks. I'm a man, Lightning Hopkins, whom I think one of the greatest storytellers of this country,
Oh, I love that. That's true.
Yes, he was a very good storyteller. So welcome to the program here, Curtis. You have to excuse me. I'm a little nervous because I was on another call, and I said, let me, So now I got everything together here, so we'll settle down and we'll be fine, okay?
Well, I'm the one who's nervous, man, because you're on WVON. I mean,
Yes.
That is legendary, the Black community of Chicago. Oh, my God. So to me, I'm the one who's slightly nervous. So let's just know that I have the highest respect for, the music and this radio station and all that you've done for Chicago and the Black community and stuff. It's just like, I'm excited. I'm a history nut. And when I grew up, I'm from Eugene, Oregon, which isn't exactly ground zero for blues and soul, as you know.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem like it. But I'm telling you, there is such a thing as records and traveling. Musicians do travel. And Portland and Eugene is a university, Oregon, the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
The university there, a great hospital there. And then the rest of it is a blue-collar working logging community. And that's what I grew up in, the same house. But my parents, same house, 2328 Roosevelt, Eugene, Oregon. But my family were very, very hip and very giving. And, I grew up around Black music in a town that did not have a large Black community. And my father loved Fats Waller, James P. Johnson, Earl Father Hines, Count Basie. And my father would sit there and go, I'm sure he was talking to himself, but I'd sit there while he listened to records, and he would, of course, I'm his son, but it's like, listen how Count Basie uses space. See how, so Count Basie would do one of those great little finger runs, and then, da-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. And then pause and go, bling, and he loved that. And then the singer was Jimmy Rushing, Mr. 5x5.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff, like I'm talking, but I was learning and observing and absorbing this stuff. And my dad took me to see Count Basie at the age of 13 years old, and I saw Count Basie with Walter Page on bass and Count Basie piano, Freddie Green still playing guitar, Eddie Lockjaw Davis on drums, and I'll never on tenor saxophone, and on drums was the great Sonny Payne on the drums, and which was kind of rare because he wasn't always out with Count Basie. Sonny Payne, and as a 13-year-old, an all-black orchestra swinging like mad and laying out this stuff. I'd already picked it up from the records, but to see it live is another experience. And I remember I said to my dad, I want to do this. He just looked at me and laughed and said, son, this is music for men. This is music made by men. And and at that time I didn't put into, here's like a 17-piece, the greatest jazz musicians, and they're on the road night after night. So that gives you an indication of what I came up with. I was blessed. And then my dad laid this on me, and I don't want to get heavy because it's an obvious, but listening to blues and rhythm and blues, funk, soul, jazz, the whole history, the mother's gospel is the mothership and stuff. That's what knocked me out. It's all I really know. I mean, I'm not good at math. and I can't do business very well, but music and its history I do know. So that said, my dad said to me, they wouldn't let Count Basie go through the front door at Carnegie Hall when they did the 1938 Benny Goodman Live at Carnegie Hall concert. He laid that on me, and then I started reading, and this was mentioned. Of course, I'm reading in the early 60s and stuff, and I'm 68. I was born in 54. So they re-released the Benny Goodman concert in the, I think, like early 60s, 1938 Live at Carnegie Hall with all these great musicians. The point I'm trying to make is that my father told me that Count Basie, who's from the black community, couldn't go through the front door of Carnegie Hall. And, so to make this and round it up so I don't waste your time is just like, what? Why is that? And the music taught me about man's inhumanity to humanity and all the stuff that goes with racism, segregation, this. Music, roots music, all of it, and American music really opened up that. And it's taught me about American history, good and bad, all the stuff that comes with it. Yes. And I'm fascinated by the people who make it in art and artists. So I was lucky. Seeing Count Basie, I saw him again when I was like 22. I got to see Johnny Shines. I played with B.B. King a handful of times. Clifton Chenier stayed at my house. So did Otis Rush. Otis Rush stayed at my apartment in Eugene, Oregon. He took the bus from Chicago to Eugene, Oregon. And arrived at the bus station where I picked him up. We were going to back him up in a concert. And I've just been blessed to rub elbows with the best, and learn and take from. And I asked Otis Rush, you were right, I'm a storyteller, so here's a story I've told before, but Otis wanted to do laundry, and he was at my apartment, and I'm going downstairs to do a load of laundry. And he goes, Curtis, do you have any Tide? And I go, yeah, you want me to do laundry? I'd do anything this guy said. This is my hero. He goes, you have any Tide? And I go, sure, you want me to do laundry? He goes, no, I don't need you to do my laundry, but I just want to know if you have any laundry soap. I said, yeah, there's some Tide. Let me get your stuff. And I start coming back upstairs. I was going downstairs. I start coming back up to grab it. He goes, no, I just want to take a bath. And I go, you want to take a bath in Tide? And he goes, yeah, it feels good to my skin. Now, to a young man like me, I was like 22, and I'm thinking, he's from the west side of Chicago, and I'm in Eugene, Oregon. I'm white. He's from the black community. What the hell am I doing playing? Do I even have a right? He wants to take a bath in basically what I figured was like crystal enzymes, chemical acid, And these are tough people. That just tells you what, you don't know. And so out of ignorance, you don't realize. He goes, no, it feels soft on my skin. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, okay. So I go down to the laundry room, and I put some quarters in, and I pull out a box of Tide. It's in there in the slot machine, the dispenser. And I poured some into my hand, and I put the quarters into the washing machine, and I put the Tide in my hand, and the water came out. And, of course, the Tide turned into liquid detergent smooth soap. And I went, oh, I get it. But that just kind of tells you, like the worlds apart that I felt. And here's my punchline, Sir Henry.
All right.
My punchline is I just went like, I literally, when he asked me that question, he wants to, and I just I swear I got vertigo. Like, he's from there, I'm from here. What am I doing? And it made me question playing blues and the stuff that I loved, because I had a lot, every day I listen to this stuff, listen to music. And I'm sitting there going, I got no right to do this. So later on that night, and we're gonna rehearse with him the next day, and we start talking about some of the records that I had that Blue Horizon record with all the Cobra sides on it. And we're going through I really like this song. He goes, yeah, I love this is the one I really like. And then, I named one Jump Sister Bessie. And he goes, yeah, I'm not really big. And you don't like that song? And I go, man, Walter Horton's so great on that. And he goes, that's not Walter Horton. That's Little Walter. That's a mistake written there. I go, that's Little Walter?
Yeah.
Then I listened to it with him. And it's like, I hear all the little, so you see, I'm in seventh heaven. That, and so that opened up the door in this conversation to me to say these words. I said, do I have a right? I'm like a white kid do I have a right to do this? And he looked at me and says, the guitar doesn't give a damn what colors your fingers are.
That's true.
And I just, that was the path. I was just, no, it doesn't. He goes, that guitar doesn't give a damn what color your fingers are. He thought I played guitar. He didn't know I was a singer or a player. And, he hasn't rehearsed with it. I'm just the guy that picked him up at the bus depot. Mm-hmm. I don't play guitar. But he said that to me. I was just like, all right, then. I just got stamped by approval by Otis Rush.
Yeah.
So, because it did. He blew, here is Otis Rush in Oregon, in the little town of Eugene. And, maybe 20 families of the black community is in Eugene, Oregon. And there it is. That says a lot. I thought I'd tell you that story. That's just.
Well, it's good. Interesting story, too. That's one thing, you speak about you being in Oregon. Yeah. And that's one of the things I noticed that. And before I say that, I'm going to say this. I noticed there's Montoya.
Robert. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Spanish surnames that I've noticed here. It's
sorry. Yeah.
That I noticed out of that Northwest or out on the West Coast that playing a lot of blues. And I wonder, I said, how did these guys? I said, these guys, most of the time you see a Spanish surname. Well, hell, they're out of the Southwest, out of California or something, and they probably in the country. They're in the country and western, that kind of stuff, But
right.
And when I did some reading on you, and I said, now I want to know, how did he, being out there, like you say, there aren't that many American blacks in the Northwest. There are some. Then how in the devil did you get into that, with the name like Salgado?
Like Salgado, right.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, though?
Yeah.
It's all really simple. It's like on my thing, and my name, I think, is Portuguese, I'm discovering.
Okay.
And my father is half Spanish. That's Spain. He's not Hispanic. He's not Latino.
Yeah.
But my father was, his father was from Spain. But, he was a baker. He worked in a bakery. And my mother was a housewife. I have an older brother, sister, who were bringing home the real deal. They weren't into, the Four Seasons. They were into the Four Tops, or they were into Bobby Purefay and and my brother brought home a early Bobby Womack stuff and Paul Butterfield and all this kind of folk era. Anyhow, to get back, my father, I am Spanish surname American, but I did a 23andMe, and it's like I'm like 54% Irish, and English, Irish, and French. I think where the Spanish name came from, I have no idea. I do know that my father his father was Spanish.
Yeah, okay.
And which is Castilian from the northern end of Spain. That's all I know, though.
Yeah.
Henry, I don't know anything else, man. But I did a 23andMe, like I said. It's like, I was hoping, of course, for some African influence and some.
Well, you got some African, and you got some black influence of no African. You got some American black somewhere there.
I'm on, but isn't it? I don't know what you believe in, but to me, it's like I think we're all from Africa. So
That's what they say.
You know, yeah, that's what they say. So I'll go with that. Portland's a port town.
Yeah.
So about 3 months ago, I saw a picture of Charlie Parker sitting at the Keller Auditorium in 1950 something, and there's a reporter, and Charlie Parker sitting backstage. I played the Keller Auditorium. And that's Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker was in Portland, Oregon. And so was blah, blah, and on and on and on. It's a port town, and it used to be quite a swinging town, actually. You know, Louis Armstrong used to come here and stay. And there's a few restaurants he really enjoyed here. I got a bunch of history for the place. I won't waste your time, but Portland, and Seattle and Portland, big jazz, blues, R&B hubs. You know,
I know Ray Charles was up there in Seattle, and Quincy Jones, and a whole bunch of others. You're right, and that's I'm a Southerner from the southern part of the United States, Mississippi, Magnolia, man. And I'm now in Chicago, Midwest, but I'm still a Southerner at heart and all that, you know. But and I know, like I said too, when I look and I like your music, I do. Some of your music got real feeling to it, you know, real feeling. You can really feel it, you know. It's like, is there something I should know?
Well, that is such an honor coming from you.
Yes,
that just made my career. Thank you. You know, music is subjective. You either like it or you don't.
Right.
What does Gellington say? There's two kinds, good and bad.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you make songs, you write of them. Some of them are going to hit. Some of them might hit later. Some of them ain't going to hit at all. But that's what I'm trying to do. I wish. You know, I say this to people. I go, I have a wonderful voice. Too bad it's in O.B. Wright's throat. You know.
Yeah.
So that's basically it for me. You know.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be.
Yeah. Let's talk about a couple of your albums here. I want to start. I'm going to start at the end. You know, the last one is Damage Control.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. A couple of those songs on there. You know, I mean, you got some hell of a titles on there. You know, The Fix Is In. Well, that's a hell of a song.
Fix Is In.
Right, you know.
That's becoming, you know, The Fix Is In. My girlfriend said that to me. She said that to me. I'll give you a real quick.
Okay.
Started writing the record in 2017. By 2018, I had a pile of original tunes. We started recording in the end of 18 into 19. 2020 came out, and so it was off the shelf, and it wasn't released until 2021. But I started all those songs and had written them before the COVID thing. So Damage Control did not come from. Damage Control is just something that you hear in the lexicon of, you know, people's, you know, it's probably military, right? And but it just seems like, you remember, things are so different than just a few years ago. But you remember when we had the president who shall remain nameless, and everything, and before he was elected, and this and the Hillarys and this is like Jesus, and then small stuff. So that's where I got Damage Control, and thought I'd name the record that. Started writing the songs, and The Fix Is In is something my girlfriend, because, you know, the fix is in. Who's, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Everything's a theory, you know, everything is a theory until you prove it or this and that, but the fix is in. Yeah. So, I had some other verses in that song that my manager said I shouldn't put up. One of them was about Jesus Christ. You know, he knew the fix was in, you know, and don't go there, you know. So I wrote about the 2008 collapse and just how people, you know, something else is always going on. It's just the fix is in. And now it's really apparent, you know.
Yes.
It's just, and Yeah, they need to be called for it. The fix is in. Take Congress. Aren't they supposed to just stay there for 4 years, but they like the job and they get to stay there for as long as they want?
And serve their masters, not us.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a whole group of people that I don't think the rest of us is like, they're not, are they trying to represent me? And I'm not saying everybody in Congress is guilty of this, but it just feels like they're all in their own little clique, arguing and moaning and dragging on stuff that's all about them and not about us. It just feels that way.
Yeah, and about that.
And they're not.
Go on. I'm sorry. Go right on.
Yeah. No. And the fixing the lobbyists and this and that
right.
And people. Oh, it turns out that let's put a chemical in the cigarettes to keep them going and keep them on. I mean, sugar is, the internet. Oh my God, it's just like. The fix is in. That's all I can say.
And I agree. That was a good song. That was when I listened, I said, "Damn, the hell of a song! It's a great song." I mean, I listened to it. I said, "This guy got something going here." And how about another one I like? I mean, a couple I like this CD for the most part. Hail Mighty Caesar.
Well, thank you. You could tell me the ones you don't like, and I'll try and do better next time.
No.
No. Yeah. So now, Hail Mighty Caesar, I wrote back in like 1994 or 95, and I had the lyrics, and I kept working them over and over. But I already knew what I wanted to do, and that is a Huey Piano Smith style, and kind of Professor Longhair. Kind of Professor Longhair.
Yeah.
But it's based on Huey Piano Smith. I really like New Orleans piano players. As I said, my father is really into it. It's passed down to me, and I'm into Huey Piano Smith, and I'm into, Professor Longhair and Alan Toussaint and Henry Butler, and I'm a piano freak. So, but Hail Mighty Caesar is the history of Rome, Cleopatra.
Oh yeah,
and Cleopatra. Everybody focuses on theater. On God, I can't talk. Everybody focuses on Caesar, and Cleopatra. She was with Mark Antony.
Yeah.
But really, man, she's trying to stay with her head above water with these power people, because Egypt is the this is where I'm coming from, and it's basically Hail Mighty Caesar, but Cleopatra, she's the queen of everything. She's trying to save Egypt.
Yeah.
So that's what the song is about, and I put it in a humorous way, kind of like it's a history lesson.
All right. Now tell me about this one. Go on. Okay. If you got something to say, go on and say it, and I'll ask.
No, I was just saying a history lesson with New Orleans backup music.
All right. Now, tell me about this one, because, hell, I want to do the same thing here. I think this is something you hit on, and I said, hell, I want to be the one to turn the lights out. The longer that I live.
Yeah. The older I want to get.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so I was walking with one of my friends, David Duncan, out of Nashville. And I'm going, man, it's just like the more this crap is pouring on and stuff, but there's still this urge to the longer that I live, where's this going to go?
Right.
Where are we headed? When did the aliens land? When's this going to, there's just the world is just so much faster, so much this.
Yeah.
But the older that I live, the older I want to get. We came up, David was like, the older that I get, the older I want to get. And I go, nah, it's got to be. And so the older that and I came up with the title. So the longer that I live, the older I want to get. Yeah. We just went, we proceed. So he wrote the first verse. Okay. Well, I wrote the first verse. My body's just flesh and bone wrapped around a soul. And then he wrote the next couplet, which is, and if when it's time to leave this earth, I hope I'm the last to know. It's perfect,
Yeah.
And then there's so we just went. He went that verse, I went this verse, back and forth, and then I took it to Kid Anderson and Jerry Jamont on bass. And you know who's the famous, you know who Jerry German is? He's on Aretha Franklin. He's on King Curtis, Memphis Soul Stew. He's with Donny Hathaway and Roberta Flack. You know, he's a brilliant bass player, and he's playing on that session. The longer that I live, the older I want to get. Michael Finnegan, Jimmy Pugh from the Robert Cray Band, Kevin Hayes, great rhythm section. So I took the changes and handed to the, you know, you bring a form to a group of musicians, no rehearsal. So here's how it goes. Here's how I hear it. And there's the form of it. And then they put in the nerves and the muscle and the tendons and the groove and everything that makes a song. And there you have it. And it just worked out perfectly, you know.
I noticed on one of your other CDs, Simple Enough. And I noticed you did the reggae and all this other stuff. Here, tell me about that one.
God, you're cool. Nobody mentions that tune. So I don't want to. So I love the history of reggae.
Yeah.
And you probably know it too. You know, you're an island out there, and merchant marine soldiers go into America and bring back records. Plus, they can hear New Orleans and various big city stuff in Jamaica, and they're getting very influenced by it. And reggae comes from American rhythm and blues. One of their big people influences was Fats Domino.
Mm-hmm.
And this stuff fascinates me. And I don't have the, what do they call it, pathos or whatever, the Jamaican, you know, speaking stuff. Right. That makes you phrase differently and sing differently. I'm like, I can't sing a reggae song. I just don't have, I'm not, first of all, I'm white. Secondly, I don't, you know, Sting takes a shot at it. You know, England, you know, had a lot of workers and stuff from Jamaica and stuff. That's how England got into it so much. And anyhow, I'm digressing. Let me get back on track. So I just thought I can't do it right, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I wrote the song with the bass player. His name is Larry Fulcher, and he has played with like the Heptones, and he's played with the Wailers. And he's played with the guy who did "I Can See Clearly Now."
Johnny Nash. Johnny Nash.
Yeah, Johnny Nash. What a great singer.
Yeah.
And all these people, you know. So I wrote the song, got on a blues cruise with him. He laid down a bass line. This will just be for a demo. And then we demoed it up. And then I went in the studio and did it. And I sent it to Larry. We wrote it together, and he knows how to play keyboard in the bubble of reggae, that you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know, Curtis, this needs dance hall. And it was then that, like, dance hall, you know, I know about blue beat, I know about, you know, skiffle, I know about, you know, but not skiffle, what do you call it?
Ska?
Before it was reggae. Yeah, ska.
Yeah.
You know, I know about ska, I know. But what's dance hall? And he goes, oh man, that's where. And so he taught me that. I don't want to waste your listeners' time, but you know, dance hall is basically DJs with these records. They'd literally tear the labels off of them. So a competitive DJ can't find out what that record is and stuff. Amazing. And they build these huge PA systems and stuff. And he goes, we need a dance hall rapper. I'm thinking, really? I mean, a rap? He goes, no, Curtis, this will really make this song come through. And so they got a hold of this guy named Tippa Lee. And Tippa Lee had a hit, a couple of them in the 80s. International reggae hit, especially in the islands of Coast. And he was a star. And he was in Los Angeles. And he didn't want, you know, how can I pay you? He goes, you know, it's just like he didn't want to be known. He didn't want to something. You know, is this guy in America? Like, this guy's in the hood somewhere in Compton, but he's straight from Jamaica, and he's the real deal. So anyhow, long story short, we figure out how to get him in the studio, and he knocks out that little rap. Hey, Mr. SALGADO, this is Tippa Lee, and then he starts going, and that really brought the song up. Did it get a lot of airplay? No. Did anybody but I'm very proud of it, and it's the real deal. And so the way the band's playing it, I mean, that's I like the lyrics are dead on.
Yeah.
I was coming from a positive thing that, the stuff I like the most by Bob Marley is just the message song of peace and love.
Yeah.
And, when he gets into, and the blues, like No Woman, No Cry and stuff. But when he goes political, he's serious about it, and it should be. But for me, Jamaica and all the shit they go through, sorry for my language, but it's just like when he's just about one love, one voice, so I wanted to write something that a Bob Marley message, which is, it's simple enough. You don't need a PhD.
Right.
You just need to love one another, man. Come on now. It's time to turn this BS around,
I agree. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough for the rest of that, And I'm glad you liked the song. You're the first. I'm going to tell you. So you made my day. So that's how it came about, man. And I thought I laid out a pretty decent reggae tune. I love that music, man. Everything about it. It's as fascinating as the history of American music, which, reggae is created through, the black community of America and the radio.
Yes. I mean, I like it, because I do like the energy of it. I like the way you had him come in there and do his thing. It's just a good song, good production.
Thank you, sir. Very much.
You and Alan Hager did a tune together, and it was pretty almost like it's strictly acoustic. Well, how did you...
Yeah, that record's called Rough Cuts.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that one? What were you thinking of knowing that one?
Well, the song "I Want My Dog to Live Longer" is very popular.
Yeah.
But the opening song is called "I Will Not Surrender."
Right, that was a good one.
And Bruce was so impressed by it because it's a how do you get as deep as Skip James or these guys, Sunhouse and Blind Blake, and so I was coming from that's the one I'm going to talk about, both of them. But the one that I focus on is the very first one I know, which is a funeral song.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it in one take. And I'm very proud of that. Because I Will Not Surrender I'm very proud of that. And Bruce was surprised. It's very deep, and the guitar playing on it is spectacular. It's the real deal. And then we do a song called "I Want My Dog to Live Longer." So here's where it's come. A little Son Jackson is kind of like what we're coming from with "I Will Not Surrender." Then there's another song I just mentioned, "I Want My Dog to Live Longer," or "The Greatest Wish." And Alan is playing sort of in the Big Bill Brunsey tradition.
Okay.
But we're just we took 6 songs that nobody covers a lot in the world of blues, However, we do "I'm Too Young to Die" by Sonny Boy Williamson. We do a Sunhouse song called "The Depot Blues." We do another song called "I Want You, I Need You" by the harmonica player named Jazz Gillum. So we're taking these 30s pre-war blues artists, and we're making sure that nobody's covered it,
Okay.
And except for maybe "I Can't Be Satisfied." We do that by Muddy Waters, of course. And we just went into the studio, and I literally played through a PA system instead of direct into the board. We built a PA system that had a wicked harmonica sound to me, and then we just went to town. And I worked with Alan last night, and we know a whole bunch of pre-war blues songs, and and the Muddy and the Howlin' Wolf, and I know what I can pull off and what I can't pull off, what I feel and can feel and get into. Can I say a little side note?
Yes.
When I was a kid, Eugene, Oregon, white boy, Eugene, Oregon. I don't know what a mojo is. What's a mojo? So I didn't do the song. God, did I love that song. I heard Paul Butterfield, and then I heard the real one with Muddy Waters and Little Walter. You know, and once I discovered Little Walter, my sister brought me a Little Walter record for Christmas, and my mother bought me a harmonica book, and that's how I got into that. I mean, my father already, I'm listening to swing music of my parents, but my brother and sister were hip, man. They were bringing me home Paul Butterfield and Little Walter, you know. So hate to see you go. So back to the thing, that's what Alan and I have been playing this music for years, and I think we can pull it off, you know. It's got to sound sincere. You got to believe it. It's got to have, you got to believe what you sing. Right. And so studying, you know, the folklore of the Black community and songwriting and the bluegrass community and the Appalachian Mountain, all of it put together, you know, which is what makes American music. Is, you know, that's right. That's what I'm into, man, you know. And so we put together that record. And so it's 6 original songs and 6 songs from the blues community, the Black blues community.
The record business today, the business period of, you know, artists, you know, when you get around artists and you get to see, and you said, damn, I said, how in the hell did Duke Ellington and the rest of them make it? You know, well, things were a little different then. I said, you know, do you see they had big bands. I said, hell, and they don't want to even pay artists today to, you know, do what they're, you know, what they're doing. What are your thoughts on the business aspect of you guys today?
I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
Well, not with me.
Okay, good. I think you probably feel the same way because you've watched it. I'm 68 years old, and you know, you've been in the radio business with Purvis Spann, who's, by the way, audience listening, is legendary. And, you know, this is the voice of Black America in Chicago. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Voice of the Nation is what it's called.
Yeah. And that's the truth. And that's something to be reckoned with and to admire. Anyway, back to this. You as a radio man, records, radio, digital, the computer, the internet, music is free. It's basically free now. So anybody can make it now. So you can get your MacBook Pro and get some Pro Tools or GarageBand and go into your bedroom and make your own record. You can make a vanity record, or you can make, you know. So let's see. Did you know that Billie Eilish, I think her name is, who I really like this girl. This is somebody who is special, and I'll use her as a positive thing. That girl made her hit records at home in her bedroom with her brother, and the girl can sing. And if you take that song called, and I won't go on, this is it with her, but she's got a song called, I can't remember, like my favorite me or something like this. And Jesus, Miles Davis would play on this tune. Changes are wonderful, blah, 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 blah. And My Future, that's what it's called, My Future. Okay, away from that. So anybody can make a record now, which means there is an onslaught of songs and music coming out. On Spotify alone, something like 60,000 new artists, not a month, not a year, a day. 60,000 a day. I read that.
Yeah.
And 60,000. So everybody is their own brand. And then if this is how you want me to answer the question, there's just too much music, too much stuff. I realize music has always had formulas. And you could just go into a bedroom and why hire a full Duke Ellington orchestra and do that when you can just do it electronically. So I'm going to give you a couple of stories I know. One is this. A friend of mine who mixes my records, he mixes a lot of the heavy rap stars. He doesn't mix them. He owns the studios that they go in and work in. He owns 7 studios. They're probably rooms, but he owns a couple of buildings, and then in the buildings are rooms. so he's working with the biggest names in rap. And he said to me, I said, would you mix my new record, Damage Control? Is the one I'm talking. He goes, God, I would love to do that. I can't. I just want to go where there's real instruments, because there is no real instruments. This is all tapping it on either a drum machine or it's all computer, it's all digitalized. He goes, I'm sick of it. It's all gone. And so you can hear that and I love rappers. You try to catch up, but these people are writing. But I feel like that they're in on their own. It's a community thing that, of course, I'm 68 and white, and a lot of it I can't get behind because it's not my story that I can relate to. And what is that? In the black community or Compton or Chicago and stuff, that's heavy stuff. And so they're talking, the politics of the neighborhood, the politics of the police in the neighborhood, the politics of stuff. And there's stuff going on that nobody talks about, maybe understands it, maybe gets a touch of it or a lot of it, but it's not your everyday experience. So I can't relate to it. And I want to. And my heart goes out, unless it's all about sex and women, which is what songs are about anyhow, is relationships. But that said, too much music. Too many bands, 60,000 a day on Spotify alone. You yourself can go in and make your own record if you want, in your bathroom for a good echo effect. All of this stuff is going on, and it's not organic bands, a band. And that's what's hard to do. And so would I love to see a big orchestra? Yes. And would I like to see, we're losing our humanity in it or something. And I'm not smart enough to put this together, but it's just filler. So music business, you're not going to make any money. Radio is going away. People aren't listening to CDs. I wanted to record an album with a liner notes. And my first record I made solo I made one with Robert Cray, but the second one I made was my own. And it was a CD, and everything changed. Now CDs are going away. And so, and everything is just, it's taken away the heart and soul of it, I think. I mean, you as a radio man, radio seems to be going away. You're doing a podcast here. And I think you really know the truth. I'm just saying that music is free and the internet has ruined everything.
Thanks for joining our podcast here on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us at Henry CB. Follow us on Twitter at WVON Henry and like our Facebook page at Classic Blues and R&B.